Hey guys, uh, welcome to our TechByte here in June. Um, I appreciate you guys taking the time to join us. We're going to talk today about checkpoints. Checkpoints kind of has a new view on things with a few developments that have come out recently, and some of this is things you're going to already know or you knew 80% of it. Um, but this is Checkpoint's view of the modern hyper-connected world, right? And a few of the newer technologies, AI being the one, of course, that everybody's talking about, but there's other ones that we're going to talk about. Um, they've kind of accelerated a few things, and we're going to see a little bit about that, and then we're going to wrap up with I'm going to show you a few slides about these workshops that we're doing to kind of address this. So without further ado. So, come on, there it goes. So the hyper-connected world. So we all know it's been going on for years. The rate of attacks, the rate of compromise, the rate of cost of this whole cyber thing we all know and love has gone up, and it's gone up immensely over the last however many years, and every year it's more. And I mean, you can see right here in this window, it's like these numbers are scaring you. But a big accelerator for this has been the birth and the growth of AI, generative AI, and all these neat things you can do with it, right? The attackers are using it to better their attacks, right? So the one that the two that I think are just like incredible, and if you really think about the ramifications of them, is on the top right. Building ransomware. To build and compile a ransomware used to take 9 days, and now with AI, they're able to just have the AI do it in 15 minutes. Think about that, 15 minutes from 9 days. And the same thing from initial compromise to data theft, with the use of AI to crawl through, help them with scanning and infiltration, and then also to pour through the data they gather and what kind of things they're looking for. The time from initial compromise to data theft is now 20 minutes. Used to be months. 20 minutes. They get in for 20 minutes, long enough to watch an episode of TV, and they're able to find the thing they want to take and take it. Um, the cost of an average breach is up to 4.8 million. That number's been climbing constantly, and the story goes on, but the hackers are leveraging some of these things. And Checkpoint and I thought this slide was really interesting. We talk about the technology singularity, right? You see in here we had the dawn of the computer age, and then eventually we moved into the internet in the 90s, and then somewhere in the late O's we started to have smartphones and a few other things out there, and IoT devices and stuff really started to proliferate, and so that's been the growth there. But we're kind of at a neat new time period here where a few things are all going on at once. The physical and digital worlds are kind of becoming intertwined, right? It's getting a little more a little more difficult to determine when you see something on the internet, is that real or not, right? And there's a shift, right? The new web 3, quantum computing, which I know is like in its very infancy, but it's coming. And quantum computing is going to accelerate all these technologies and give it so much more horsepower. It's going to be incredible. Virtual and augmented reality, right? Um, Changing our perception of things and how we approach certain tasks. 5G connectivity everywhere, right? So people have internet that's faster than most bandwidth, or most broadband connections via cable. They have it just from a tower all over the place. We have autonomous machines, autonomous vehicles doing things, and last but certainly not least, the AI, right? So all these new things are being evolved at a rapid pace. They are evolving themselves at a rapid pace. And we're reaching this point where it's difficult to even understand the capabilities of these tools, much less protect them, right? So let's talk about Checkpoint. I think a lot of us know this, so I'm going to burn through these next few slides quick. Checkpoint's recognized as a leader by multiple analysts. I think we all know that. We're in every Gartner, we're in every Forrester that we compete in. Frost and Sullivan and all them guys, right? I always like this slide. Meyercom did a security test, an actual bake off where they actually take all these vendors for a test drive. They set them up in the vendor recommended way, in vendor recommended configuration, and then they throw 0-day malware at them, and then they give it a day and throw it again and see if we came up with the fix for that malware, right? Checkpoint blocked 99.9%. And as you see, the next one down was 9% less, which you say 9%, okay, whatever, who cares, right? But think about how many attacks you see on your firewall every day and how many you see on your endpoints every day. And you may not know it, but how many you see on your phones, your smart dishwashers, your whatever's, right? Um, you probably see over 100 attacks a day. And if someone is 9% less effective, that means that 91 of those 100 attacks are being blocked, right? And so on for these other vendors too. It's just even worse. So think about that across a day, a week, a month, a year, what that starts to look like. Um, and I wanted to point this one out because I'm going to start tying this all together. And we talked about AI already, and it's going to be a focus for the rest of this conversation. Is Checkpoint has recently been recognized as being the company who best leverages AI in their cybersecurity platform. And we do this through a variety of ways that we're going to discover in the next few slides. But our capabilities of leveraging AI and controlling AI have really, it's been a huge focus for us. They just talk us to death about it kind of internally. But we have these tools leveraging AI to make them better and make them better faster, right? So let's talk a little bit about the new norm, right? Um, Most of us out there, this is what our environment kind of looks like, right? Maybe we don't have every single one of these, right? But we have an on-premise component and we protect it through firewalls. And there's like a cloud component maybe where we got like a cloud firewall for our AWS or Azure, and maybe we do a little bit of WAF on a web server or something, right? And then the workspace side, which varies and can get pretty convoluted. You have your endpoint security, you have your mobile security for your mobiles, your email security for your emails. Some of you may be using secure access service edge, right? Things like that. But Checkpoint looks at this as one environment, and so we need to leverage these technologies together. We need to let them work together, right? And integrate so that they can be fast, they can be scalable, they can be adaptive, they can be intelligent, both regular intelligent and artificially intelligent. Um, we want the security to move where the data lives and where it's being used, right? We don't want it sitting at the edge or in some distant cloud. And that's how we mix this all together, right? And you see in the picture at the center of this whole thing is our SASE, right? Our uh, secure access service edge and private access solution, to kind of bridge these different technologies together. But the reality is we're built to scale all this stuff out. It's resilient by design, right? And also it interoperates, right? Things that can be found on a firewall or updated to your endpoint via the threat cloud instantly. You can actually manage your SASE from your firewall starting pretty soon. Your email security has some things that can help you with your SaaS and so on and so on and so on, right? That these things are becoming integrated and gathering data from each other and making each other better, right? And so when you do something like that, this hybrid mesh approach, it's agile, right? It's a hybrid security. Some of it's on-prem, some of it's in the cloud, some of it's on the edge, some of it's delivered as a SaaS service. And your cost, right? Your cloud cost on this, because I know a lot of us are kind of going crazy with the cloud costs these days. The cloud cost on this is low because much of it is on-prem and not even in the cloud, right? And the stuff that's delivered by SaaS, it's just one price to Checkpoint, and it's got that flexibility built into it. And of course, we have our platform, right? So we have unified management in the Infinity portal. You can manage pretty much any technology by Checkpoint from the Infinity portal. We have our three main, pillars, we like to call them here: the Quantum, which is the network stuff; the Cloud Guard, which is our cloud approach; and the Harmony, which is a variety of different products built to secure the workspace and the end user. And then linking all that together, like we said earlier, was the Threat Cloud, our global threat intelligence. And again, we've really taken AI to heart here, right? As it's become more pervasive, more integrated with our daily lives, right? So you see at the bottom, and the two bottom columns there is where I really want to draw attention. In our threat cloud, just as an example, of the 95 engines, 55 of them are AI based now, right? And we came out with 4 big ones this year, which I can't get into now, but really spiced it up big time. But think of that: 55 of those 95 engines are AI based, right? And managed by a human, of course, which leads to a less than 2-second sync across all global enforcement points. We see something, we determine it's malicious, we mark it as malicious in the threat cloud, and it's pushed out to all our things in 2 seconds, which is just insane. And that's how we got that great result on that Meyercom report that we saw before, and other things too. And then on the right side of that, the AI agents for security operations. So we're also making the security operations easier, right? A lot of you have seen the Copilot, and Copilot might be my next TechByte. I'm super overdue for that. But a lot of you have seen our Copilot, right? Our AI chat that can help you to better use your security technologies, to understand the attacks they're seeing, to make changes in configuration changes, make updates, all that stuff. The Copilot's there to kind of help walk you through all that and make it easier and faster for you to access the things you actually want to do. And then again, the AI ops, the policy insights, and auditor. So we are continuing to add more capabilities to our products to control AI, right? Our AI Protect on the endpoint side and on the browse side, blocking and controlling access to AI sites in the firewalls, things we could do with SASE. And then the policy insights and auditor is really cool. If you haven't seen it, that'll be a TechByte soon enough, I'm sure. But we actually can leverage AI to have it look at your policy. It will find either redundant or unnecessary or rules that might even conflict with one another. And it will tell you, hey, no, nothing has hit on this rule in a long time. You should just get rid of it. Or, hey, rule number 7 conflicts with rule number 772. So that's the kind of things we're getting, and that's going to increase your speed, increase your effectiveness, and just make you, the admins, scale faster and be able to get to the things you want to do. The other thing that Checkpoint really has been focused on for some time now, and almost seems counterintuitive in a way, the open garden approach. We are collaborating and working with a lot of companies out there, many of whom, if you look at this slide, are our competitors, right? In the hyper-connected world that Checkpoint is proposing, that we've talked about in these earlier slides, You may have a Fortinet somewhere in there. You may have a Wiz in there somewhere. You may have Okta and there. And I'm sure you have all sorts of Microsoft services like Azure, Defender, and AD, right? Um, we integrate with those. We leverage those. In some of those cases, they enhance our product, right? And we're able to kind of improve or add additional functionality to our products, right? So we're working together with industry leading uh, players out there, whether they be you know um, competitors of ours or not. Um, okay, so that was my discussion on what is the hybrid mesh and how Checkpoint sees things today and how they're going to go in the near future and that. I don't see any questions. I don't know if you guys have any questions. You can throw them in the chat. Um, if not, that's fine. Um, okay. So one of the big, what are we doing about all this, right? What is Checkpoint see and how do we move forward and make this actionable, right? So Checkpoint has addressed this hybrid mesh. We've talked about it just now. We're talking about it at all our events. And what we're doing to follow up on that are these hybrid mesh architecture workshops. So essentially what we're doing is looking at your environment, right? And we look at the road to a hybrid mesh architecture. Now, my guess is you're somewhere on this path, right? You've been doing some of these things already. Um, Aligning with industry standards and new market trends, and maybe you're leveraging some AI and those sort of things, right? Um, but why? What's the drivers, right? And why are we doing this, and how could we do it better to address these drivers, right? And then again, the security drivers. Um, what is our risk? Are we trying to reduce identity-based attacks? Are we trying to have a zero trust architecture, right? Um, and this is a pretty common thing these days, right? Gartner has is talking about the hardware mesh firewall platform, right? And it's a hardware, cloud-based, SaaS models, all unified with a cloud-based management plane. And that's what we've been discussing in this earlier slide deck. And you see on the right side the cyber mesh, right? Mitigate the risk of vendor lock-in and over consolidation by having this open garden and mix of platforms and best of breeds, right? So what are these workshops? Essentially, they're this. We look at your current situation and we discuss with you some of your goals. And we essentially draw up a plan how to design a secure hybrid environment, how to leverage best practices, and select the proper technology and solutions to get you there, right? And we review your current situation, right? See how it aligns with the hybrid mesh concept. We tailor the architecture and use case scenarios, and then we learn and map the technology to realize that architecture. Um, and so the outcomes of the workshop, right, is that we look at the vision, the roadmap, awareness, right? We introduce customers to the Checkpoint hybrid mesh vision and the full portfolio within their own specific security landscape. We collaborate together to design an infinity mesh architecture tailored to the customer's environment, and we schedule the relevant activities that are follow-ups to that. And the most important part about the whole thing, and I didn't put it on a slide by itself, I thought about it, is that the workshop is free, right? We do these hybrid workshops. It just takes a few hours, usually spread across a few phone calls. So maybe 2, 3 phone calls, about an hour and change each. Um, and we go ahead and talk that out, discover some things and learn some things and make some recommendations. So with that, that's my presentation on the hybrid mesh and Checkpoint's response to it, and also the free hybrid mesh workshops we're doing. Any questions on any of that? I'm checking the chat. See nothing yet, which is okay. So I know it's a lot to digest. Feel free to take a look and think about some of this and reach out to me with any questions you might have, or if you're interested in taking one of these workshops, etc. Um, also, of course, you could, again, it's a lot of info, so you can review this. I'll have this up on the YouTube channel like I always do. So if you want to check it out a second time and see if it aligns. I got a quick question. um, what's the cost of the workshop? So the workshop is free, no cost to you at all. The only thing it requires is a few phone calls. That it's entirely free. Um, cool. Yeah. So appreciate everybody's time. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, etc. If you have any suggestions for a future topic, I actually hinted at two already, but if you have a suggestion for a future topic for a tech bite, I would love to hear it. So please shoot it on over. And with that, I thank you very kindly for your time today and appreciate you guys stepping out and checking this out. Thank you.